The vessel has 1.5 meters draft and 900 horsepower propulsion. Transport 4 passengers from Balandra Bay to Grande Riviere Bay. Consult the chart catalog to see what charts cover the area. The appraisal informs us that the smallest scale chart available for the voyage is chart 500. When we scrutinize the charts, we should use a magnifying glass on paper charts or the zoom feature on chart plotters. We can see rocks close inshore between Isla de Bato and Barracuda Point. We see rocks inshore in Guayamara Bay and Cumana Bay. There are rocks inshore off Forest Point. And there are rocks extending off Galera Point. There are rocks off Reefs Point. We will see that chart 500 has a chart note about the Guiana current. There are also current vectors on the nautical chart close to the route. When we check the sailing directions, we will see the seasonal conditions, for example from January to March, when the itch is away to the south, Trinidad experiences strong northeasterly winds. From July to October, the north coast can experience swells from hurricanes passing to the north. Navigational warnings can be accessed on the Ministry of Works and Transport website. In 2020 the process was, look for divisions. Look for Maritime Services Division. Look for notices. We look at the navigational warnings for the area to see if there are any rig moves or other tows passing through at the time you will be there. When selecting waypoints we have to justify their position. We have to decide on how much sea room we want between our ship and navigation hazards, if your vessel has to alter course to avoid a close quarters situation with other vessels. From the thorough appraisal, we know that Balandra, Salibia, Taco and Grande Riviere are fish landing points. We know that long liners and trawlers operate on the north coast. So we can expect vessels engaged in fishing and vessel returning to port with their catch. We have to decide on how much sea room we want between our ship and navigation hazards, if your vessel has to alter course to avoid a close quarters situation with other vessels. The location of waypoints governs the distance the course line is from navigational dangers. On the coast, we could be talking about clearance distances in meters, not miles. When we are operating in strong currents we will have to think in meters per minute. A vessel proceeding at 12 knots will travel 0.1 nautical miles or 185 meters in less than 30 seconds. A vessel drifting at a 2 knots current will travel 0.1 nautical miles or 185 meters in around 3 minutes. A vessel proceeding at 12 knots will travel 0.5 nautical miles or 925 meters in 2 minutes and 30 seconds. A vessel drifting at a 2 knots current will travel 0.5 nautical miles or 925 meters in around 15 minutes. A vessel proceeding at 12 knots will travel 1 nautical mile or 1852 meters in 5 minutes. A vessel drifting at a 2 knots current will travel 1 nautical mile or 1852 meters in around 30 minutes. Having considered the appraisal, we decide the clearance distances at 0.1 miles off Isla de Bato, 0.5 miles off Barracuda Point Rock, 1 mile off Neptune Rock, and 0.5 miles off Reefs Point Rock. On the chart, use the dividers to show the arc with the radius equal to the clearance distances. The waypoints are plotted on the chart and the latitude and longitude coordinates are recorded. The course lines are plotted between the waypoints in sequence. While plotting the courses, the navigator checks again for hazards near the intended track. The navigator measures the distances between the waypoints individually and in total. Using the GPS instruction manual, we input the latitude and longitude coordinates correctly. We then compare the courses and distances obtained on the chart with the courses and distances obtained from the GPS. Unless the GPS is new out of the box, there will likely already be waypoints stored in the memory. In any case, the set will assign a waypoint number, if there is sufficient memory to store your waypoints. If there is not enough memory, you will have to free up memory by deleting old waypoints. Many GPS sets will have a feature to name waypoints also. The waypoints can be input in any order. When we input 10 degrees 43 minutes north and 60 degrees 58.9 minutes west and save it, the GPS gives it a waypoint number. We have the option to save the waypoint with a name, like Isla de Beto. When we input 10 degrees 44.3 minutes north and 60 degrees 57.6 minutes west and save it, the GPS gives it a waypoint number. We have the option to save the waypoint with a name, like Barracuda Point Rock. When we input 10 degrees 49.7 minutes north and 60 degrees 53.1 minutes west and save it, the GPS gives it a waypoint number. We have the option to save the waypoint with a name, like east of Neptune Rock. When we input 10 degrees 50.6 minutes north and 60 degrees 53.5 minutes west and save it, the GPS gives it a waypoint number. We have the option to save the waypoint with a name, like northeast of Neptune Rock. When we input 10 degrees 51.4 minutes north and 60 degrees 56.1 minutes west and save it, the GPS gives it a waypoint number. We have the option to save the waypoint with a name, like Reefs Point Rock. When we input 10 degrees 50.6 minutes north and 61 degrees 02.6 minutes west and save it, the GPS gives it a waypoint number. We have the option to save the waypoint with a name, like Eastern Grande Riviere Bay. To create a route, we go to the appropriate part of the menu and select waypoints in the sequence for the route. When the route is saved, we check the courses and distances displayed on the GPS with those done manually on the chart. The first leg of the journey is 045 degrees true by 1.8 miles. The second leg is 039 degrees true by 7 miles. The third leg is 339 degrees true by 1 mile. The fourth leg is 228 degrees true by 2.7 miles. And the fifth leg is 277 degrees true by 6.4 miles. This close to shore there should not be over-reliance on GPS for position fixing. If this voyage is being taken in daylight and good visibility, there are a few prominent peaks on the chart for visual bearings. At night there is the lighthouse at Galera Point for visual bearings. There are some cliffs on the north side of Forest Point that could provide a reference to use parallel indexing for keeping clear of Neptune Rock. The rest of the coastline is low and the radar range position line could have you 2 miles from a point inland, not 2 miles from the edge of land on the chart. Radar positions should be treated with caution. We should consider that a vessel drifting at a 2 knots current will travel 0.1 nautical miles or 185 meters in around 3 minutes, and we decided on clearance distances at 0.1 miles off Isla de Beto, 0.5 miles off Barracuda Point Rock, 1 mile off Neptune Rock, and 0.5 miles off Reefs Point Rock. Balandra to Cumana Bay, the position fixing interval can be 5 minutes. From Cumana Bay to Reefs Point, the position fixing interval can be around 3 minutes.